That's one big lobster. That is joking.
Like a ninja warrior, go for it. Good. Give us a bow. Nice one. Thank you, sir.
Is this actually filming?
Yes.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Or just calm down. Step one, cooking gnocchi alla Romana. So this recipe is for Roman style gnocchi, and of course we're doing it vegan. So instead of cow's milk, we have some trusty soy milk, latte di soia. So you will need 1 liter of your trusty soy milk of choice. If you don't want to use soy milk, obviously use whatever plant milk you're into. You will need the main ingredient as well, apart from the soy milk, which is semolina. So gnocchi alla Romana is you close enough to the back of it. Gnocchi alla Romana is not made with potatoes like this. It is made with semolina, which is a kind of wheat. So you will need 250 grams of that. You don't need a packet this big. So there are 2 main ingredients for this recipe. You will also need some olive oil. We'll get to that in a sec. So, of course, you start off the recipe. This is how to make it now. I'm going to show you how to make it. Right, we need a saucepan. I'm just thinking that might not be big enough. It doesn't have to be this deep, but I'm going to go with this anyway, just because that's how I roll. You might need a lid as well. So, the first thing you do is you put your liter of soy milk into the saucepan. So we're going to put our liter of soy milk into the saucepan. Okay, that's a full liter of soy milk, and then you want to put it on the stove. Come around here, my camera lady. My lovely camera lady is going to show this, and we want to put the stove on. Which one are we using? This one. We'll put the stove on to a medium-high kind of heat, and now I'm going to add some allspice. I'm not going to put me in there, but the allspice. My camera lady is being a bit funny. Okay, so some allspice, just a sprinkle, and we are going to put in olive oil, extra virgin of course, extra virgin. So olive oil goes into here. Just about a tablespoon of olive oil would be great. The reason you need the olive oil, is because it really sticks the gnocchi together. So if you don't have the olive oil, you're going to find that when you get to the shaping the gnocchi, it doesn't stick together as well. If you're plant-based, you could use a nut butter or something, like if you blended some nuts up, or you got a almond butter or something, you could put it in there. You could maybe use some flaxseed ground. It needs something that's fatty, but it probably won't work as well as olive oil. I've made this recipe many times, and olive oil or some kind of oil generally works best, and you get a much better gnocchi. So we're going to leave this for a while. I'm just going to stir it a little bit. Stir it a bit here, and we're going to leave this and let it sit for a while on the stove, not on the one that's not on. And and I'm going to put the lid on it, so it's just to speed up the process for a while, for a little bit. Once it starts to lightly boil, we will get to the next step. All good? Okay, so we're up to the next stage. If you wanted to show everyone what's happening in here, you'll see that it's starting to lightly boil, and the next stage then is to come over here. I'm going to use 250 grams of semolina now. We're going to put that into the pan, but I'm going to measure it first. If you do have an electronic scale, it's obviously best because then you can get the exact quantity of 250 grams of semolina. And that's too much, so I'm going to put a little bit back. 50 grams. If you don't have a scale, of course you can use a measuring cup, but it's not going to be the same. Come over here. So now that it's boiling like this, what we're going to do is we're going to add in, we can put the light on, the fan on here. Okay, we're going to slowly add in the semolina whilst using our whisk to whisk it into the mix. Okay, that wasn't very slow, but we'll whisk, and I'm just going to add a bit more at a time. I'm going to let that sort of settle in a bit first because I'm pouring it in. I'm pouring it into the pan a little bit too quickly, really. But I'm sort of multitasking here. If you can get somebody else to pour the semolina into your saucepan, it will mean that you can get a more steady flow of semolina into the mixture. You want to be whisking it vigorously the whole time so the semolina is mixed in nicely. And you don't want any lumps in there, of course. So this part of the process is important. The key is just to release the semolina into the bowl, into the saucepan slowly as you're whisking it in, and don't do too much at once. Okay. And once it's all whisked in like that, you'll get a nice mixture that's starting to turn quite thick. As you can see there, it's getting quite thick, and that's perfect. And then you want to turn the heat down. I'll just actually turn it off completely, but leave it on the hot plate on the stove for a little bit, and then take it off. Right, it's just going to cool there for a moment. In the meantime, we're going to come over here, Bambina, camera lady. My lovely camera lady, come over here. So we have a deep dish which we're going to put in the oven. This is where our gnocchi is going to go. It's good first to get, obviously, even though we've got baking paper here, it's still going to stick. So we want to put some olive oil on the baking paper. If anyone knows a more environmental option for stopping things sticking when you cook them to the pan or dish, then baking paper like this, then let me know, because I don't think this is compostable, and pretty sure it's not recyclable or anything like that, obviously, after you've used it. So we generally just have to chuck that out. So if you know a more environmental alternative to this baking paper, let me know. We generally use the baking paper with olive oil because otherwise it's a real pain to get the gnocchi off the pan and clean the dish after you've used it. So that's prepared. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to grab something to sit the saucepan on. That's fine, just go on nulla. Running out of battery on my phone, so let's try and get this done. I'm going to bring the gnocchi mixture over, and it will be into a semi-solid state now. And I'm going to use What you want is something like that, some sort of a spoon to shape it. So like that. And we just pop it on. So that's quite a large piece. You can make these pieces of gnocchi as small or large as you like. You can see it's sticking together really nicely, and that's because we used olive oil in the mixture and we got the quantities of ingredients correct. So if you don't use olive oil and you want to make this plant-based, that's awesome, great for your health and stuff, but I don't know how well it will stick together without the olive oil in the mixture. If you're cool with olive oil, then definitely use the olive oil or an oil of your choice in the mixture, as I said earlier in the video. If you're finding it's still not sticking together when you're making it earlier, or if you make it and you find it doesn't stick together, generally it's because you've got one of the quantities of ingredients wrong, or you haven't used enough olive oil. So I'm just going to put as many here in the dish as I can. I'm not doing this as sort of neatly as some people might like, because I'm not too concerned about the presentation of it, and I'm just trying to sort of get it into the oven quickly. And I'll let you know what the micro and macronutrients of this dish are a little bit later, but you're looking at about 1,400 calories for the whole recipe. We're also going to make a tomato sauce for this. That's fairly standard. You could buy a tomato sauce from the supermarket and just bring it in and heat it up on the stove if you don't want to make it yourself. If you want to make it yourself, you can just get some tinned tomatoes or chop up your own tomatoes. Obviously heat your onion and your garlic first in the saucepan, and then add your tomatoes in the saucepan with your garlic and onion. Again, if you want some olive oil or oil of your choice, you can put that in there, with some herbs and salt to taste, salt and pepper to taste. And you've got your tomato sauce to go with this dish. Generally, this dish is used as an entree. It's not actually intended to be a main course. And we usually find that we need something else with it because we love it so much we eat it all, and then there's nothing left for lunch the next day. So if you're like us and you like to take leftovers, I would advise making something else to go with this. Tonight we've got some spring rolls and those sorts of things in the oven as well. I would say it serves about 4 people as an entree, and if you're having it as a main, I would say you're serving 2 people for 2 meals, for dinner and if you're having it the next day for lunch. Alright, that pan is a bit, this is a bit crowded, but that's alright. Sometimes you might find you need 2 of these dishes to get all of the gnocchi in there. We've just managed to get it all in there. It's very crowded, but that's fine. If you want, you can sprinkle some more spices over the top. You can get a bit of nutmeg or allspice, and just, you can put salt and pepper on top as well. Oops. Now we're going to put that in the oven. Okay.
Be better in the middle.
Okay, so we're going to put it in the middle, on the middle tray, and it will need to go in there for about an hour.
Turn it around.
Yep.
Supposed to have the never mind.
Okay, now where can we put this?
Make sure you adjust the oven.
Okay. Temperature needs to be at about close to 200 degrees. That will be fine. 180 to 200 degrees. And you need a timer on for Does this timer work? Yeah. So we're going to put our timer on for about 40 minutes. It will generally take you a good hour for this gnocchi to cook. It does take quite a while, but obviously it depends on how strong your oven is. Put it in 40 minutes and check it, and after the 40 minutes, if it's not nice and golden yet, leave it in for another 10 or 20 and just check it as you need, as needed. Back and let's check it out. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. Let me get a towel first. So once it's nice and golden like that, that's what it will look like. Some of these are stuck together and I'll need to remove them, and then you can have it with a nice tomato sauce like that. And I'll put a picture of what the finished product looks like at the end of this video. If you liked this recipe, let me know. I will give a better breakdown of the macronutrients for you in just a moment. If you want to know the macronutrients of this, it's very high in protein. Great if you're working out, and if you just want something that's tasty, then it ticks that box. So stick around if you want to know those details of the macro and micronutrients. Okay, here's the ingredients. Semolina and soy milk being the main ingredients here, with a nice tomato sauce. Macronutrients, so 1,400 calories. Micronutrients, calcium, iron, phosphorus, potassium, selenium. This is in the full recipe, which serves 4, of course. Don't forget that. Guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video, and like, subscribe, share, and let me know what else you want to see on the channel. Take it easy. Vegan power.